It's a naturally occurring substance. It reduces the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%. You heard me correct. Prostate cancer, 69%. Colon cancer, 64%. And lung cancer, 39%. As reported in the Journal of the American Medical Association in December of 1998, research published by Larry Clark. You know what it is? Is it some chemotherapeutic agent? Is it some designer gene therapy drug that, just rolled off the assembly line at Pfizer Pharmaceutical? What is it? Vitamin C? No. Vitamin D? No. The answer, the mineral selenium. Selenium. Selenium is the only nutritional supplement that I recommend everybody takes across the board as a standalone supplement. We talk about something in the field of MD-directed medicine called fractionated nutrition. And because MDs are so colorblind about the way that they've been trained to look at the human body and its relationship to health and illness, because they're reductionists to the core, when MDs with open minds, and there are a few, get frustrated with conventional medical treatment and they start to turn their sights towards vitamins and minerals and more quote-unquote holistic treatments, well, they completely leave out the holistic part of the equation and they just focus on the single nutrients. So they start to use vitamin C or vitamin D the same way that they use antibiotics. So they'll give tons of it. They'll give massive doses of it, right? Massive doses in intravenous drips. Or they'll give a lot of tyrosine, which is an amino acid. Or they'll give a lot of calcium, right? They'll do something in a reductionistic manner. They're not using drugs. They're using herbs and vitamins and minerals, and they're thinking that they're holistic, and it's nonsense. When you give the body a lot of one of the essential 90 nutrients, you're going to upset the apple cart. And this completely misses the whole idea here that the body is a holistic organism, which every part needs to be attended to. Now, having said that, what I recommend for everybody across the board is the 90 essential nutrients, right? The 90 essential nutrients, and there are a lot of different ways we can get the 90 essential nutrients, a lot of different product combinations you can put together depending on your budget and really what's going on for you in order to secure the 90 essential nutrients. And that is a fantastic, holistic, boilerplate place to start. And the only exception that I make to this fractionated nutritional nonsense is selenium. Everybody should be taking selenium, at least 200 micrograms of selenium a day in the preferred form of selenomethionine. Let me give you a little bit of the history of selenium, and you're going to wonder why this is the first time you've heard this. I mean, for goodness sake, it reduces the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%, and you haven't heard that? And this was published in 1998 in the Journal of the American Medical Association. So how many women with a history of breast cancer in their family or with breast cancer got that phone call from their doctor? Mary, it's your doctor. You're not going to believe it. I just read in the Journal of the American Medical Association that selenium supplementation can reduce the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%. I know there's breast cancer in your family. I want you to go to the health food store tonight. I want you to throw a brick through the window. I want you to run in and get yourself some selenium, and I'll take care of the police. No problem. Yeah, we'll sort it all out. That's how important it is. I want you to go get it now. How many women got that phone call? 0. I've given a lecture on this subject over 100 times in the last 2 years. And every time I ask how many women in the audience, I'm lecturing to 50, 60, 80, 100, 200, 300 people. I ask how many women got that phone call from their doctor. Not a hand goes up. This is a problem, right? This is a gigantic problem. Can you imagine what would happen if a drug company came up with a drug that reduced the incidence of breast cancer by 10%? It'd be front page headline news. Front page headline news. But selenium reduces it 82%, prostate cancer 69%, colon 64%, and lung 39%, and nobody knows anything. Oh, that's selenium. As a matter of fact, many MDs will tell you that incorrectly that selenium is toxic and shouldn't be taken into your body, even though The importance of selenium in the human diet was discovered in 1979. Chinese scientists showed that children living in selenium-deficient areas were suffering from a heart disease known as Caishan disease. Their hearts got bigger. It was called a cardiomyopathy illness, and it was completely reversed by selenium, thanks to my colleague and mentor, Dr. Wallach. And selenium deficiencies in athletes also gives rise to cardiomyopathy, heart attacks. You know, when you see all of these athletes on the field, on the basketball court, on the ice rink, and they're dying of heart attacks while they're playing their sporting activity from enlarged heart, cardiomyopathies, and everybody thinks, oh, ho-hum, oh, it's so sad, oh, he must have had a bad gene, oh, she must have had a bad gene, oh, it's got to be in the family, oh, it's got to be a voodoo curse, oh, we don't know what causes it. Well, guess what? They knew about this before World War II in Germany. It was called athlete's heart, and it was known to be caused by not enough selenium. So when you exercise without nutrition, it's suicide. That's why we say exercise without nutrition is suicide, because you're putting all this stress on the human body. And in order to handle that stress, your body needs nutrients. I mean, in this case, selenium. If you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, and you do not have sufficient amounts of selenium in your body when you're running on that treadmill, you're stressing your heart out, and your heart cannot respond to the stress, so it becomes enlarged, and then it pops. And then your pin-headed, knuckle-headed, colorblind MDs tell your family it must have been genetic. It's unbelievable, right? I can't say enough about selenium. It's a potent immune stimulator. Cancer patients with low selenium levels tend to have a wider spread of the disease, more occurrence of the disease, and die sooner. Selenium increases something called non-adaptive and adaptive immune systems in the human body. It's involved in key metabolic activities throughout the body. Selenium deficiencies have been shown to allow invading viruses to mutate and cause longer-lasting, more severe illnesses. It's also been shown to be effective with AIDS patients. AIDS patients who took selenium were able to suppress the deadly virus in their bodies and boost the fragile immune system, adding to the evidence that selenium has healing powers we need to pay attention to in treating cancer patients. We have had people who are HIV positive for decades. It's never gone into full-blown AIDS because they're taking boatloads of selenium every day. It's also an unbelievable antioxidant. Selenium prevents the action of free radicals, which are causative agents behind degenerative disease. One of the reasons that cancer develops is because the DNA inside the cell that's affected by cancer becomes destroyed by oxidative damage. Not destroyed, it becomes damaged by oxidation. Oxidative damage to the DNA, so that particular cell cannot stop making copies of itself. So it copies and copies and copies, and you get a tumor. Russia, Romanian-born physician, scientist, author, and humanitarian Emanuel Ravici has used selenium for over 30 years in Europe in the treatment of cancer, and he's having remarkable results. And in the United States, Dr. Gerhard Schrauzer, professor emeritus of biochemistry at the University of California at La Jolla, publicly credited Ravici for having discovered pharmacologically active selenium compounds. Dr. Schrauzer, by the way, is the head of a committee which delivers an award every year. It's called the Klaus Schwartz Commemorative Model, and it's given to members of the scientific community who do research in the field of minerals, right? Minerals as they're related to human health. It's a very prestigious award, MD and MD PhDs and triple degrees. People have gotten this, very famous scientists all around the world, and last year our own Dr. Wallach was given the Klaus Schwartz Commemorative Medal for his work with selenium as it happened in the genesis of cystic fibrosis. Now, Dr. Wallach, back in the 70s, was doing a $25 million research project, a $25 million 12-year research project, looking for the net negative effects of pollution on the human species and on animal models all around the country. It was a big deal. And he was working at Emory University at the Yerkes Primate Research Center, and when he was there, Wallach discovered that the cystic fibrosis could cross species lines. It was a remarkable breakthrough. Could cross species lines. Could happen in monkeys. Before Wallach's research, they thought cystic fibrosis was humans only. And furthermore, Dr. Wallach proved that cystic fibrosis was caused by not enough selenium in the blood of a pregnant mother. So if the baby is developing in a selenium-deficient environment, there's damage to the genetic material which causes cystic fibrosis. And for this remarkable gift to humanity, for discovering the cause and the cure for cystic fibrosis, and the first case of cystic fibrosis crossing species lines, Yerkes Primate Research Center fired Dr. Wallach. And the National Institute of Health called major teaching hospitals all around the country and said, if you hire Wallach, we're going to pull your funding. Why? Because medicine in the United States is a for-profit engine, and when you cure something, all the research money dries up, number one. And number two, selenium being a naturally occurring substance, you can't patent it. Anybody can make it, so there's no money in it. If anybody can make it, your profit margins go remarkably downhill, so they didn't want to come out with that information, and because of that, approximately 300,000 children have been born, 30,000. No, 300. 300,000 children have been born in the United States needlessly with cystic fibrosis. Stop giving the MDs your money. Get some selenium, for goodness sake.